Coming up next is the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime. We talk about the WCW DVD released by WWE and what may not have been so accurate on it and what was very accurate on it. Also, Jeff Hardy's gone from WWE. We talk about the circumstances surrounding that and your emails. All coming up next on the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime, which starts right now.
Number one since 1998 on television, ESPN Radio, and the World Wide Web, this is the Pro Wrestling Report with your hosts, the man they call Meathead, Frank Cosentino, and Damian Nelson. Professional wrestling news, opinion, and information from fans for fans.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time for Friday, August 28th, 2009. I'm not
You never know where you are.
Damian Nelson, the man they call Meathead, coming to you here from our studios in downtown Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Dave Hero not able to join us, nor is the
David
Kaz.
Octavius Hero.
That's not his name. Thank you so much for tuning in, Meathead. We're coming off the heels of that interview just a couple of days ago on PWR Express with TNA President Dixie Carter.
Dixie the Cougar Carter.
While we talked about a lot with Dixie, there were some things that we just weren't permitted to talk about. However, I still think Dixie had a lot to say about the future of TNA, the current situation in TNA, and what their goals are.
I think the immediate future for TNA seems to be they are going to be adding another show.
Certainly, that was the theme of the interview. Our special thanks go out to TNA Wrestling for that opportunity to talk to the president of the company, Dixie Carter. But let's get to the news of the day, and the big news of the day is tonight on SmackDown, Jeff Hardy's final match in WWE. This is a spoiler alert. If you haven't read the Smacky Wacky spoilers, it is a cage match between Jeff Hardy and CM Punk. The loser must leave town. That loser is Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy seemingly
leave
now,
town. Is it said? Is the stipulation actually leave town?
It may not be. Maybe I
you need to leave town, boy.
Perhaps I went back too far into the 80s on that one.
Leave town.
Anyways, essentially confirmed now, Jeff Hardy done in World Wrestling Entertainment or taking some time off. It depends on who you ask. From what we understand, Jeff Hardy is indeed just not ready to sign a new contract. His agreement has expired, and he is free, essentially, to do whatever he chooses. Now, that chooses could be any number of things. As you know, he has a band that he runs and that he is a part of, that he wants to spend more time on. There's talk of a reality television show, and I think with the bizarre life that is Jeff Hardy, that could be interesting.
Is it kind of like the Hardy Show on the internet?
No, on the interweb?
I gotta get on this internet. Email.
Could be, but Jeff Hardy now no longer a part of the WWE atmosphere. Meathead, your thoughts?
You'll be missed. That's a crass remark, and it's, you know what? I've come to realization on this run of Jeff Hardy. This final run that he's had since he's come back to the company from his drug suspension from TNA. I actually like Jeff Hardy.
You made it into your VI3, your top 5, several times.
Yeah, Jeff Hardy, great entrance music. Jeff Hardy, a little more believable now. Improved on the microphone. Still the daredevil when it comes to wrestling spots.
Now, one would say this may not be as significant as people are making it out to be, specifically us, but Jeff Hardy's very important to the WWE for several reasons. Most importantly,
it's all about
he sells a lot of merchandise.
The money.
At a time, if not still, he was the top merchandise pusher in WWE.
Besides Ray Ray.
And losing that opportunity is going to be a blow to WWE. Now, Jeff could come back. Jeff could go to another wrestling organization. Jeff could wrestle occasionally. He could be like an RVD with WWE. We don't know what he's going to do, but we do know that his time has come in WWE, and he is out the door. The way they sent him off, we thought it was going to happen at SummerSlam this past Sunday on pay-per-view, a pay-per-view that I thought was excellent, by the way. We thought it might have happened then when he was pretty much jetted out of the ring for The Undertaker to make his return against CM Punk.
But that was okay. I said it was okay if you listened to the radio show that we taped this week.
It turned out nicely.
It was fine. It was okay. The Undertaker coming back in was fine. We all knew that Hardy was scheduled to be at the TV tapings. I obviously like to antagonize and say, are you sure? Is it confirmed? We knew he was going to be at the TV tapings, and, you know, he does a whole farewell, thank you. He left town. You know, he got a nice little send-off. You know, Hardy's a WWE employee right now.
He deserved that. for the number of years he's been with the company and the contributions he's made to the company. Granted, he's had his problems, but he certainly deserved that opportunity to have a farewell match. And maybe, unlike others, maybe he didn't get a chance to choose his opponent or the situation, but one thing that was discussed on the radio show this past Monday was, did Jeff Hardy give it his all? I think he absolutely gave
in
it
that
his all.
SummerSlam match. I don't think he gave it his all, but as of this Friday night on SmackDown, you're going to see he gave it his all.
Who takes Jeff Hardy's place? He was in the top of the atmosphere, if you will, on WWE SmackDown. Obviously, the Undertaker
I got
running
a
a
guy,
program with CM
and
Punk,
you know
but who takes his spot?
It's your guy for 2010, and I'm not talking about Rob Terry. I'm talking about WWE.
I should have
SmackDown.
asked Dixie about Rob Terry.
You should have.
That was the fail, huh?
Oh, dude, you failed on many levels. Fox News. Jeff Hardy's spot will be filled by Dolph Ziggler. Granted, Jeff Hardy's spot was the top face selling merchandise. So somebody will have to sit in that spot for a little while. But as far as up on the card, that's for Dolph.
Ziggler over Morrison?
Morrison might, but let me ask you this.
Ask me this.
What kind of merchandise does Morrison have available?
Well, they could sell his bedazzles.
But, I mean, honestly, just think off the top of your head, what does he wear that he sells?
Perhaps he needs an image change like The Miz. I don't think you can push. I mean, obviously you got to have the right merchandise, but you also got to have, most importantly, the desire of the fans to purchase it. And you could have the greatest shirts or the greatest gimmicks out there for talents, but if no one cares about them, doesn't matter how good it is because they're not going to buy it. Austin 316, obviously, that was a shirt that was iconic and,
sure, and again,
meant more than wrestling
sure.
in some people's
and
minds.
again, to excuse me, I had a little piece of my eye there. And again, to bring back David Octavius Hero's words, you need something on the front, and you need something on the back.
Got to get them coming in. You got to get them.
Got to get them coming, and got to get them going. Just like every one of the PWR T-shirts does have something on the front and something on the back. Like on the front, it'd say, "We'll do it live," and then on the back, it'd say, "F it, we'll do it live." But that's just me.
Jeff Hardy gone from WWE. We were interested to hear your comments. We talked about, we had a Q&A episode just yesterday right here at pwrshow.com. We'll have another one on Tuesday. We'll do those every Tuesday and Thursday now.
You know, they like
interns
the
are keeping
content.
up with the emails.
They like the content. They like us putting out all that product. Do you guys appreciate it? I mean, are there users that get upset, because they think that we're sellouts or we don't know what we're talking about? No. You guys like the content, and we're going to keep doing it.
I got an uncle named Tom. He loves it. He does.
Hey
We call him
now!
Tommy.
I know a cousin.
Now we're going to talk about your emails, actually, because we do keep them in this program as well as part of PWR Interactive. But just after we do that, we're going to talk about the rise and fall of WCW, Life and Death of WCW, which was released this past Tuesday on digital versatile disc. And talk about that.
Unfortunately, not in the Blu-ray version because none of WCW's product was in high definition.
First email comes from a person by the name of Donnie who asks, where do you think WWE will be in 5 years? Stamford, Connecticut.
In the exact same spot. Unfortunately, I see Vince stepping out of the limelight in 5 years.
Well, I think the way to answer this is to look at 5 years ago, 2004.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 20, I think, was that year. Madison Square Garden, Goldberg, Austin. Rock was at that WrestleMania.
Well,
Mick Foley was still around. Eddie Guerrero, Chris
It was
Benoit.
Goldberg and Lesnar with Austin as the referee.
Look at how many people are
Benoit won
gone
the match.
from the
Benoit won the
company.
main event match from Triple H. Eddie Guerrero defended his belt earlier on in the evening.
5 years is a long time. We talked about who might be the breakout stars of 2010 in a recent episode of this very program.
Speaking
5
of
years,
WCW,
who knows where WWE is going to be? I would imagine that they will still be on top of the wrestling world and solidified in that place at that time. This is from Eamon Rogers, who sends this email from Ireland. Took it a while to get here.
it came by boat.
Boy, are its arms tired. He says, yes, it is quite normal for us to look this white. Mainly the fellas, because girls all put on their fake tan or go to the tanning beds.
Well, our producer, actually Dragon from 540 ESPN, unfortunately not a fan of the gingers.
This is in reference to our comments about Sheamus in ECW.
Who looks transparent.
We had said that a viewer had told us before that that is not uncommon in Northern Ireland, I believe it is, for a person to have such a complexion.
Just making fun, nothing personal.
This comes from Joshua Cabezos. I must say that when I wrote into your show, those comments were my original impressions of the whole incident. This in reference to the Kurt Angle situation. If you haven't already, make sure you check out that press conference that Kurt Angle had this past Wednesday, where he released a lot of information about the situation. And Tranisha Biggers also had some words to say of her own, saying that this was not the first case of abuse, and saying that she has got some answering to do, and she's willing to do so, but Kurt Angle giving a lot more information as well on that situation. But Joshua goes on to say, however, after hearing Kurt's side of the story in an interview conducted by an ABC affiliate in Pittsburgh, he seemed very distraught and deeply saddened by the whole ordeal. I feel really sorry for him. I hope he gets his life back in order. My question, will he get his life back on track, and what possible ramifications could this incident have on a possible WWE return if he chose to go to WWE?
I don't think there's any ramifications on him returning to WWE because, let's be honest, people that have sued WWE have gotten back in the company.
This is for all the ladies who want to be me.
People that have tried to put the WWE out of competition, out of business, have gotten into WWE.
There's no such thing as never in the wrestling world. However, I think these rumors of Kurt Angle being interested in or being sought by WWE are a bit exaggerated. Again, I'm not saying there's no chance he can go back. I just don't see how it benefits him in the long term.
Right now, I think right now it's not going to happen. Today.
This comes from Jorge, who says, I have an issue with TNA.
If you got an issue, use a tissue.
I have an issue with TNA and some of the PWR community referring to Lashley as an MMA star. In the MMA world, Bobby Lashley is pretty much known, as he is sometimes called on this show,
Black Lesnar.
Being undefeated against two jobbers doesn't make you a superstar. Calling him a star would be like calling Sheamus a star.
But then again, I have to interrupt you. I'm sorry, Damien. Every WWE talent is a superstar.
By which I mean he seems to have a lot of potential, but is far from achieving it. Also, I think Taz on commentary was a great move on TNA's part. I may actually watch regularly now that Don West is gone. He was as entertaining as the guys who used to run WWE's Spanish announce table. I was a fan of Hugo Savinovich, for the name alone. Taz on Impact last week. You finally had a chance to listen to his commentary along with Mike Tenay. Your thoughts?
It's Brother Ray, not Bubba.
Or Bubba.
It's Brother Ray. And he apologized right at the beginning.
But kept doing it.
Dude, I got it. It's going to take some time. We even, on this very program, I did that for you.
Not as good.
I wasn't trying. On this very program, even tried to give Mike Adamle a chance. I remember watching the show right after Adamle was announced as the play-by-play for ECW. I said, we haven't heard him yet. To more than a handful of shows, give him a chance.
To the Bobby Lashley comments, again, I'm not sure how much I care about his MMA career, to be honest with you. I don't follow MMA as much as some others do. I am intrigued, though, however, with what is going to be done with him in TNA. As Dixie Carter said in our interview with her earlier this week, Dixie, the president of TNA Wrestling, said that they're trying something very unique and different with Bobby Lashley. He left the wrestling business because he thought he could not do both, that being wrestling and mixed martial arts. TNA is giving him an opportunity to do both, and hopefully it will prove beneficial to not only Bobby Lashley, but to TNA and to us, the wrestling fans.
You know, I think WWE tried that. Now, obviously, Ken Shamrock wasn't doing any UFC once he came over to WWE. But that's what WWE was trying to do, was bring over a UFC guy and get that, cross-section of fans. Especially with your Steve Blackmans, your Dan the Beast Severins, and so forth.
This is from Chuck, who's asked
a
question along the same
lines.
What up, Chuck? Why didn't TNA pick Shane Douglas instead of Taz as the color commentator?
Well, unfortunately, Shane Douglas enjoys having a farmer tan, so therefore at commentary you have to wear sleeves.
Shane Douglas is, in my opinion, only out there to get himself over.
And it's a shame, because Shane Douglas could get others over if he so chose.
Yeah, and he has done that. I mean, that's not all he does, but I think in a commentary role where he's got to fill 2 hours of time, I think that it's going to be a little bit more about Shane and a little bit less about that action going on.
And it sucks, because I like Shane Douglas. I really do. I mean, the farmer tan thing was a joke, but I do like Shane Douglas.
Larry sends this in. Do you like Do you like that the Brian and Kendrick detached Ezekiel Jackson and ECW, including the anything you can do, I can do better segments with Cosmo?
They were okay the first 2 times.
He goes on to say, I think WWE missed a golden opportunity to push Jackson when $1 Million Man guest hosted Raw. It would have been sweet to have Ezekiel sneak attack DiBiase, beat him silly, then grab the mic, quote unquote, it's been 20 long years since I dribbled a basketball for you. You wanted to teach me a lesson in life, $1 Million Man? Here's my lesson for you. Payback is a bitch. That's some good writing.
That's fantastic. Matter of fact, we're going to put that up on our refrigerator when we get home. Whoa, wait a minute.
Our homes are in different places.
Woo!
Actually, about 30, 40 minutes apart.
That's not even far enough.
This is from a
person who has a computer.
Oh, Donald Haver. Or it could be Harv, because it's spelled like Favre, but with an H. Do you think WWE and TNA should do an invasion-like angle?
No, it won't happen because it's 2 separate companies.
Not the question. The question is, do you think they should do it?
No.
I would say that WWE, and we'll talk about that DVD in a minute, but WWE has no benefit to gain or nothing to gain by doing that. TNA has everything to gain by doing it.
That's why it won't happen.
WWE did do it with ECW as a cross-promotional thing back when they were trying to steal a lot of the ideas from ECW.
WWE was financially backing ECW, so they were
after the invasion.
They still were paying for some of that stuff.
I don't think it would be beneficial to either group to do that. However, remember how genius it was when the NWO came in and how WCW portrayed those 2 talents, Hall and Nash, as still employees of WWE. Another email comes from Alex, who says, hey guys, I'm a huge fan of the show and I enjoy your views and opinions on pro wrestling. Thank you for that. My question is, where do you see WWE 10 years along the road? Now, he goes on to say, in my opinion, WWE should remove not only Batista due to the fact that his matches are very boring, but his character is stale and his lack of personality is dull, but other wrestlers as well, such as Khali, Hornswoggle, Festus, and Kung Fu Naki. If WWE goes on like this, making their products sink down towards kids, where do you see the WWE 10 years down the road? I think just like the 5-year question, as long as they're not caught off guard by competition, which they were by WCW back in 1995-ish, and as long as they can continue to change their course as need be and as the fans desire, I think they're going to be in a very good spot. Thank you for those emails. You can send them to comments at pwrshow.com. Make sure you check out pwrshow.com.
Did you just become a man? It just happened right here, folks. August 28th, 2009, Damian Nelson is a man. First a kiss from Dixie the Cougar Carter, and now this. I heard his voice change. A la Bobby Brady.
Monday through Friday, we have PWR Express video updates at pwrshow.com. Obviously, PWR Primetime on Fridays. And then Monday nights, 2 hours on ESPN Radio. And I'm not sure there's more content out there from a wrestling a news organization.
That doesn't charge you.
Exactly. Meathead WCW, The Life and Death, The Rise and Fall of WCW. Released this past Tuesday by WWE Home Video. Going into it, there was a lot to speculate on as far as how the story would be told. I will say this, after watching it. I think they covered just about everything that needed to be covered. I didn't see any glaring burials aside from Kevin Nash, which they pretty much blamed the fall of WCW on, Kevin Nash, Vince Russo, and Eric Bischoff. You had, though, a lot of missed opportunities. Those missed opportunities were having Eric Bischoff actually talk about this, not using pre-taped pieces from other DVDs and other interviews and inserting them in where it seemed like he was doing something specifically for this project. Also, obviously,
they handpick those comments to make it seem like he was going along with what the story thread was.
Which they did with Hulk Hogan. I'm not sure if any of Hulk Hogan's comments on that DVD were actually related to the subject matter in which they were inserted.
You'll never know about that, but
you'll never know. But I think you can tell because he bashes things that happened in the company, and Hogan had a lot of reason to bash a lot of things that happened in WCW because remember the whole laydown by Jeff Jarrett at Bash at the Beach 2000, I believe it was.
2000. It was Russo's doing.
Exactly.
Russo and Jarrett.
And still conflicting reports as to whether or not that was a work or a shoot, but certainly it had some realism to it. But I think the DVD overall focused heavily on Goldberg and his impact on WCW, focused heavily on the NWO's influence on WCW, didn't focus enough on the challenges that WWE had in meeting the challenge of WCW, and also didn't focus enough on the purchase by WWE and the execution of the real death of WCW, which was by the hand of World Wrestling Entertainment. But it's certainly a must-see. It's a must-see DVD. You got to pick it up. It's, I would say, not as good as the rise and fall of ECW, not as good as the story told about world-class championship wrestling, but a good DVD to pick up. And it really gives some inspiration to have someone do a real perspective and a real look at the true death of WCW. We talked to Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash got a lot of heat for the influence he had.
Well, I guarantee
in
you,
WCW.
he knew about what was going to happen on this DVD before the DVD came out, and that's why he spoke out on it. Because again, as you said, and I've only watched about the first third of it, he spoke out about how he is the main culprit, apparently, in the death of WCW.
He spoke on that in one of the appearances that he's had on the 540 ESPN radio show for the Pro Wrestling Report. So check out those interviews available at pwrshow.com and right here on our media networks. Kevin Nash had really an enlightening bit of things to say about why people are blaming him for the death of WCW and why perhaps they shouldn't be.
It's the fact that he sits in his bathtub butt naked with action figures of Kurt Angle and Jeff Jarrett while drinking glasses of wine.
Pick it up. It is certainly worth the time and worth
Not the
view.
mental image.
And there's some good extras on there, some good matches. Again, I always expect more out of these things for some reason. You know, the Stargate DVD, I think I talked about it here on this program. I still don't know where the rest of it is. I think half of it got cut out because they just sort of skipped from 1988 to 2005, and clearly a lot of stuff happened in between. But
as Damian Nelson has told you many, many times, WCW is a defunct wrestling company that was purchased by World Wrestling Entertainment in 2001. Where Starrcade 2002, 3, 4, and 5 came from?
I meant 95.
No clue. I got to be here to correct you. I can't help it.
I meant
It's just,
95.
it is
But they
what it
did
is.
talk to the Harvey Schillers of the world. They talked to Bill Watts, rather.
Cowboy.
And really did cover a lot of ground. And keep in mind, they were limited. They couldn't talk to Vince Russo. They couldn't talk to Kevin Nash. Couldn't talk to the Stings of the world. Flair, Jericho, Mysterio all had prominent roles on the DVD and some insightful things to say. Dean Malenko, Arn Anderson as well. But at times, knowing some of the stuff that we know, you knew they were lying. I mean, it was just that simple.
That's why you'll
telling
never
our
get
side
a.
of the story.
Unfortunately, you're never going to get a true DVD. You're never going to get it. It's unfortunate because, again, I want to hear both sides of the story. Not the mine, yours, and the truth, the three sides that Damien will tell you about. I just want to hear both sides. Then let us make the truth.
That is our review of the WCW DVD recently released by WWE.
Still worth watching, though. Go ahead and take a look.
Absolutely. As we said, if you haven't done so already, check out our exclusive interview with TNA President Dixie Carter, which is available on our media networks and at pwrshow.com. And we are going to be back with you again on Monday, August 31st, with a brand new edition of the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. We'll also be re-airing that Dixie Carter interview on that show. What?
So Monday is the 31st. And according to pwrshow.com, apparently on Monday, we'll be doing it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Howard Stern uses that. I've been listening to Stern for quite a while, and just, I think it was 2 days ago, they had the clip in there.
I think he's been listening to the show. Also, hey, for
Doubtful at best.
for anybody in the Milwaukee area, August 29th,
Milwaukee.
which is tomorrow, Saturday, at Majeska Theater over on 12th and Mitchell, Lucha Libre Wrestling is going to be going on.
Will there be masks?
It's possible. Very, very inexpensive tickets. Very, very inexpensive tickets. Doors open at 5. Show starts at 6. Lucha Libre Wrestling down at the Majeska, 12th and Mitchell. Get on down there. Watch some high-flying action.
And no, I am not refereeing at that event.
No, Damien, all he does is he counts Hornswoggle's pin over Chavo in the back. That's a pin.
That's a show. Thank you very much for tuning in to the Pro Wrestling Report on Time Warner Cable this week. We'll see you again tomorrow, no, Monday. Brand new edition of
Live! We're doing it live on
Express.
Monday!
And we will be streaming live video from the 540 ESPN studios in downtown Milwaukee this Monday night at 10 o'clock p.m. Central, right after WWE Raw 4. Pro Wrestling Report radio show. For the man they call Meathead Dave Hero and the guys, this is Damian Nelson saying thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you again soon.